I did my piece on uh, Article 1, and I kind of touched on this briefly, but I also found it necessary to do Amendment 1 as well. Now, Amendment 1 of the Constitution is, and I'm going to read it verbatim, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, this is necessary. And I point out a few things that you see when you go through and you read Article 1 in the responsibilities and the authorities of the Congress. Now, when the founding fathers talked about the responsibilities of Congress, they made it necessary for us to have a standing Navy, which being Navy Marine Corps, I'm like, woo, go Navy, woo! Yeah, but they found it necessary to have a constitutionally ordained Navy, that we have a Navy. But when it came to an Army, and subsequently Air Force, yada, 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 they made it necessary for them to put a rubber stamp on the Army every 2 years, which I always thought was interesting. And there's a reason for that. And it's right here in Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. And this is the reason why. The founding fathers didn't feel a standing army was necessary. Part of their reason is we were separated from everybody else by a water mass. So, Navy, we need you. You need to stay out and keep all the bad guys away, or anyone who threatens us away. But a standing army was only going to be necessary occasionally. That was their original belief. And this is where states' militias and then a people's militia was the answer. And I tie that back into the right to bear arms. Those are separate things because they're separated here by commas and a pause. So they're separate thoughts. However, they're separate things. So the answer of, we have a state's militia, and then we have individuals that also have the same firearms and the same things as the army. So theoretically, it's more like how the Swiss Army has. So you literally would have a rocket. I don't agree with this answer, but the Swiss Army, you could have a rocket launcher in the back of your closet so that when the Swiss Army needs to go to war, literally grab your rocket launcher, let's go to war, or a sniper rifle, or whatever your skilled mandatory term of service weapon is, hiding in the back of your closet, so that when it's time to go to war, you have it. That was kind of what this was meant to be, is the fact of you have the ability to go to war and fight for the US at will. And that was kind of what this thought process was. So this is why they said the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Was their intent was never for us to have a truly free, a standing army was never their intent. Now, is that argument for the fact of the people shouldn't have, now is that the reverse argument that, we have a standing army now, people shouldn't have firearms? No, I don't agree with that answer, because that is where, I believe it's Thoreau, civil disobedience comes into discussion. We need to have that still, but that's where that thought process, in my belief, my personal belief, comes into play, is the fact of we were supposed to be able to pick up arms in the name of our government at will, or as it says in other places, the civil disobedience comes, it does say peaceably, as it says in Article 1, the right of the people to peaceably, but we cannot assemble violently because that's not protected, but peaceably. But when government becomes violent against us, we should be able to defend ourselves because we have peaceably assembled. Again, there's the key word, peaceably. We should be able to protect ourselves, because if the history of the world proves true, which sadly history is always doomed to repeat itself, government is government. Government will always, government only, as I've said to my son way too many times, the government and I've said it to military people all the time. The purpose of government is only to serve the continuation of government. Government is a necessary evil. It is only there to perpetuate the continuation of government. So that's why the second is so important, because as many times as government is important, because as much as I have read documents like the Communist Manifesto and the wonderful idea, and even the concept of anarchy, a world without government is great ideas. They're flawed because we as humans are not capable of those things. We're not capable of living free without something putting on guardrails to us, because we're not capable of that. As much as I would love to see that, and the fact of if anything, look around you today in 2025, where we've been evolving for however many years you believe, we're not possible of living in a world. And this is where I point out that these organizations trying to protect gay and trans rights and colored people rights, and these rights organizations still need to exist in 2025, when, as I said during my preamble discussion, we the people shouldn't have to exist in 2025, because this wrapper doesn't matter, because I've seen what's inside this wrapper. We're all the same. We're all squishy goo. So guess what? I love the idea of us living free, but the problem is we suck. I mean, I love us all, but we're all flawed. And I'm going to bring up a song, and if you haven't ever heard it, I suggest you listen to it. And it's a song that's, I'm going to show my age. It's a song by the Flowbots, it's called No Handlebars. And it's an interesting song. Don't look at, I think it was Machine Gun Kelly who did a remake of it, and but the Flowbots version is No Handlebars. Now, I love this song, and one of these days I'm going to get permission to actually play it, and I'm going to use it as my campaign song, because it's a word of warning. Because in this song, if you listen to all the words, it starts out kind of sweet. And it kind of embodies the way I grew up, is the fact of, we grew up with all these great aspirations. Hey, look at me! I can, ride my bike with no handlebars. I can draw a comic book. I can take the remote control apart and put it back together, or almost put it back together. Things I did. I can, and you get your teen years, I can create a vaccine. I can this. It starts with a child with nothing but aspirations and being told you can do whatever you want. But as you get older, he gets into politics. I can put, and the problem is, you see how he gets out of control. And this is exactly where government is. And as you watch and you listen to the verses progress, you see how he becomes out of control and tyrannical. And I can put people in jail. I can end the world in apocalypse. I can put anybody in jail because I don't like them. I think I can guide a missile by satellite. And this is where government is. We are responsible for keeping our elected officials in check. And with that song, and the reason why I embrace it so much, is at the end of the day, the Second Amendment and you guys, you are the ones responsible for keeping, if I get elected, keeping me in check. You guys are supposed to be my reality check. And the fact of, hey, Craig, I don't like that idea. I think that's bad. Hey, let's talk about it. Why is it bad? And that's one of the reasons why I like that. It's the fact that it's a word of warning. Are you getting too out of control? And I think that's where we're at right now with our government. And I think our government is getting a little too. So anyway, Craig DeLeo, I love all y'all. Have a great day and keep safe.